Hello, this is Woody Collins, and this is another episode of Talking About the Congo. It is Wednesday, Veterans Day here in the United States, and hats off to all of our veterans, those who have served and those who are serving now. What we have today is one important subject that we're going to stick on the rural aspect of Congo. That's where most of the poor people live, and we're going to be talking about their buildings and what they look like and what they are made of. So let's go ahead and get started. As I said before, I'm Woody Collins. I'm with Congo Helping Hands, and we've been working in the Congo for about 15 to 20 years, over 20 years when you count the time that I first went there. So, in a rural area, do you have? We're going to talk about schools, we're going to talk about clinics, and we're going to talk about homes. So let's go ahead and start talking about homes. But before we do that, let's talk about what's the building materials. The building materials are basically sticks and palm fronds and mud. What they do is put the sticks down and they make a lattice, kind of like a fence, two fences, and in that in between portion, that's is where they pack wet mud at. So you maybe have an inch to say 3 inches or more, because they will use a type of stick that's going to give them enough space to when they run the palm fronds and the other sticks along the side, that will leave that amount of space in between so that they can pack it with mud, and then they will spread mud on the outside and mud on the inside. They may at some time will actually go back and try to paint it and so make it prettier. And also they will mix some type of uh, maybe some hard clay or something with it, which is more as, as adhesive, and that it will you can actually paint on it. Versus it's pretty hard to paint on the mud. Uh, so that's the basic building materials that you use in the rural areas. Uh, but occasionally you also see them using some bricks that's made out of clay. They will take the clay and dry it. They press the wet clay into a block brick, and then they will let it dry in the sun. Uh, so, and if they're really uh, making a good brick, they will actually build a say a kiln, and they will fire those bricks within the kiln, and they become much harder when they fire 'em within the kiln. So you have those two items that you have the stick and mud and palm fronds, and then you have clay bricks, either fired or not fired. Uh, so so that's what you build. The rural buildings are mostly built from. So let's talk about the homes. Most of the homes that I've seen and been in, they are the stick and mud and palm frond type houses. They will put palm fronds on top and let them dry, and then that will keep off the water. But of course, it will leak. Uh, you see some people, they will actually get some where spend the money and buy some tin sheets, but those have to be brought in, so that will actually keep the inside a lot drier. And also, you can build an overhang that will not allow the rain, unless it's a driving rain, wash against the house, because when it washes against the house, it will actually wash the mud off, and the next thing you know, you got to rebuild everything. So very few houses have out of clay brick because of the expense. You're going to have to pay maybe 10 cents a piece for the bricks. And when you think about all the bricks that you're going to have to build a house with, that's a lot of money. Uh, I'm sorry, 10 pfennigs a piece, which is that's still about a few pennies. But when you're thinking of thousands of bricks, that drives up the cost of a home. So most of the people do not use that uh, to build houses with. Now with schools, I've seen them build a school strictly out of mud and thatch and the mud. It is sticks. You don't see. I've never seen a school that incorporated clay bricks into it because it is simple. Is that who's going to buy the brick? The families uh, are struggling just to pay their school fees in the past, and so they don't have money to donate to a school to buy brick to build a school. So most of the schools, I mean, just about all the schools I've seen, they don't use the clay bricks at all. How about a health clinic? A health clinic is also the same way. They're mostly, just about all of them are the sticks and mud and the same structure. So you will have a village where you may only have one or two, uh, say, former structures in a village that may have these clay bricks used. The majority of them would not have any type of bricks. And so people, you'll probably think, what about cement? Well, cement is very expensive and it has to be imported from, it's imported into the country, and it also would have to be brought out of the city out to the rural area. So that's probably one of the main reasons people don't use concrete, because you would have to bring many, many bags of it, and how you're going to get it out there. When been working on projects before where we actually built a more sturdy health clinic and also a more sturdy school made out of a mixture of clay and cement together that will make a pretty hard brick and they last a lot longer. And also some of the old missionary houses, they were actually, their bricks were fired and they were very strong and stuff. So it is possible to do it, but it's not something with the condition of the country now being so poor in the rural areas that you don't see a lot of things. The only people you would see building those would be projects that build schools and projects that build clinics and stuff. They will have metal, they say metal roofs, which is what we would say is tin roofs, and that type of a roof, and it will have windows. Uh, but typically, they don't have glass in any of the windows. If they have them, they're just made out of wood, uh, and so forth. Which gets me to the next item is, why don't they use wood that we would have, like you would go down to Home Depot and buy Lowe's or some of those places and buy, big planks of wood? Well, the first thing is there's not that many sawmills that's available to 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 harvest that wood and cut that wood into into planks of wood. I've actually seen them out in the forest because of these big trees. They cut a big tree, they're gonna have to cut up that tree right there on the spot. So they will cut a tree. It's too big for them to move by hand, and they will actually sit there and dig a hole, uh, a, a pit, basically a pit, the pretty much the length of the wood, and they will start. One person will go down in the hole, and the other person will be up top. And one person is with a two-man saw. One person is pushing up while the other is pulling down and that's how they would saw off boards that they need. So it's a tedious process, and you just don't have the where the sawmills that you can actually take out into the forest and stuff like that. So it's one of those situations where they're too poor to have these type situations, to have cement and also the wood that they can build better structures. So the typical house or school will only last 3 to 5 years, depending on how bad the rain was and so forth. So they would have to rebuild that school after that period of time because it will be all washed down. And we've been out to some schools where the wood has failed and the whole uh, structure caved in and stuff like this. And this was made out of sticks and mud. And you can look between the branches, and you can see into the classrooms. And it just don't. That is a poor situation for schools and students to be working in. But that's what they have, and they'll be very happy that they have those as a school. So, uh, to recap, the typical building material is mud, which don't cost you anything. You can dig it up, and also just mix a little water with it, and you can go out into the forest and cut your sticks and come back and place those in the ground and build your like a fence around your it's like almost like a post fence, and between those two, the outside and the inside, that's where you would pack your mud, and then you would put on a roof with the same sticks, and then you would put palm fronds over the top of it, and you would maybe have one or two windows, and if you're um, fortunate enough, you may have pieces of wood that you've had that you bought from somewhere, or you got them from somewhere where there are boards where you can actually have a window, a wooden window that you can open and close. And then you would also, if you're lucky enough, you would have the same thing for your door. So it's very primitive uh, uh, out in the rural areas for as far as building and stuff, because you don't have trucks, and you don't have the way to get building materials in there, and you can't produce concrete. I mean cement. There's not even, I don't think, in the Congo a place that actually produces cement. Most of it comes in from another country, and you don't have that many sawmills. Some of the mission stations have sawmills that they've had, and individuals that have sawmills, like uh, Paul is building churches, so he has a sawmill and also uses the brick. So this has been another uh, episode of talking about the Congo. I appreciate you stopping by today online, and I also will appreciate those who actually can look at the video later and get some ideas. And as always, if you have any questions, please uh, send me your questions, and maybe I can get those answered for you. And also, if you got topics that you would like to see covered, please get those to me. So this has been Woody Collins with Congo Helping Hands, and we do this every day at 3 o'clock, and we'll be doing it tomorrow at 3 o'clock also. Thank y'all again, and I would like to part with take care of yourself, take care of your families, be safe, wear your mask, social distance yourself, and also wash your hands frequently. And be blessed, and we will see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. So take care now.